Hey, welcome back to ZK MasterTech. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content with Millennial Farmer and all the content with the S680 hydraulic nightmare. I'm so happy that thing's out of my life. Gonna have maybe a little delay in the content coming here soon. My wife's father just passed away, so got a lot going on with that. Your thoughts and your prayers are appreciated. So I'm not really quite sure, what content's going to be coming, but I do have some projects in the shop, and spring's just getting going again. So I'm kind of in and out of the shop. I've got a couple shop projects here. I've got a 6400 that came in with a water pump leak. Thermostat housing was leaking as well. When I got it in here, I noticed that the oil pan, the timing cover, were seeping out really bad. So in order to get that all out of there, I had to pull the entire cooling package and everything off to get to the water pump and the timing cover. Had to take the exhaust off to get the oil pan off, because it comes out of the muffler, goes underneath, right underneath the oil pan, and then goes into the corner stack. So I had to pull the exhaust off. So had to do quite a bit of work just to get the oil pan and the timing cover off. I've got everything all cleaned up, ready to put a new timing cover gasket and all that good stuff on there. Got a combine project again in the shop. I was thinking it was going to be a fairly quick service and inspection, because it only has like 532 hours on it, but I've got a list again. So I'll bring you guys in and kind of show you what's going on. Also, got some new tools. Been working on the FAV. For those that you don't know, the FAV is my service truck, the farm assault vehicle. Trying to get it reorganized. I've got some new Milwaukee packouts. I've got some new rigid boxes I put in there. Kind of did some rearranging to try to fit 5 pounds of crap in a 2-pound bag, basically, and still have some bed space left. So I'll show you guys some of the new stuff I got there too. So this video is probably not going to be a whole lot of how to do this, how to do that. It's just kind of a general, what's going on in the shop right now, everything I've got going on, maybe a little content on the tools and the truck and stuff like that. But I'm gonna show you guys around and see what's going on. Okay, so here's the big 6400 here. I don't normally work on anything under 200 horsepower, but I still work on them. Just because you guys see that a lot of people comment that, oh, all I do is work on new stuff, and all this new stuff junk and it blows apart or whatever. There's literally hundreds of machines we have out there running that are, they're fairly new. So, that creates a lot of work for me. But just because you don't see me working on old stuff doesn't mean that I still don't do it. So I mean, this tractor is, not old, but, I still work on older stuff. So this is just a 4.5 liter engine. There's no, emissions or anything. I mean, this thing's pretty simple. It's just suck, bang, blow, basically. So I got the timing cover, oil pan, water pump, thermostat housing, everything all off, because it was weeping out of the water pump here. It was also seeping out here. I still got to get this out. But I had to get all of this cleaned off of this plate, where the gasket was, and got a new Milwaukee Rotary tool. This isn't the reason why I just bought this. I'll show you guys here in a little bit. I actually bought it to help get a broken extractor out of a bolt that I have in the engine of this combine I'm working on. But got kind of a master rotary toolkit from Harbor Freight. And I ordered this off of Home Depot online. That's where I buy everything, off the Home Depot app for Milwaukee. But you turn it on, and this thing hums. But putting the little cheek poker on there, I was able to get into all these tight little spaces in here and get around these little dowels, and it just worked beautiful for cleaning this plate up around all these gears and tight spaces and stuff. So that thing, I don't know why I haven't had one yet, but I definitely am enjoying it so far. That made really quick work of that, cleaned that all up. So we're doing all the engine repairs on this guy. I'm going to recondition these steering cylinders because the seals are just shot in those, and basically that's it on this thing, getting that all back together. And then got the 780 here. You can see it's missing a grain tank panel. Somebody had damaged that panel. There's just a huge chunk taking out of the front of it. I don't know how it happened. That's just how it showed up here. It came from another store. So that panel was like $4,600. So I took the panel off, took it to a local body shop, and they're in the process of fixing that right now. Those panels are not fun to take off. Just FYI, they're heavier than they look, and they're kind of awkward. Had a scissor lift up here, 2 guys on a scissor lift, me on the inside getting all the bolts taken out so I could hand them that panel. Definitely gonna have to be a lot more careful when we're going back together, so I'm gonna have to come up with a different process of installing that piece. But of course we gotta install the duals on it still, but I'll show you the list. Here's my giant list again. So of course I inspected it. I've got some RC1 codes, mainly for the cleaning fan. Cleaning fan is running way too fast on this, so I've got to figure that out. Feeder house drive chain, a stone trap pin's missing. The lift cylinder R&R and recondition, that's already done. I just got it sitting here right now. I just got to reinstall it into the feeder house. So got that done. One of the bearings on the shoe auger drive shaft's busted. So I got to pull the shoe auger drive shaft out and rebuild that. A couple sealing strips on the feeder house top door, adjust the feeder house conveyor chain, the mid-floor wear strips, you see me do that. Some separator door seals. Definitely got to level the concave. It's got to loose. One of the main pins in the back is loose and the front's holding all the weight, so we need to re-level that. Discharge beater belt. There's a shoe harness that's kind of just dangling. Gotta get that secured back up. There's a chopper belt that needs replaced. There's a bad paint spot, bad paint chip on one of the gullwing doors, so I'm gonna try to touch that up. The accelerator belt. Cleaning fan speed's too high. Like, this thing is supposed to only run 1350 RPM and it ran 1570. I mean, that thing was humming, so I gotta figure that out. Rethresher chain, of course the idlers, you see me do that before. I got a cross auger bearing that's noisy, so we got to do that. This is the reason why I bought the rotary tool, because I have a rocker box bolt broke off in the cylinder head and I snapped an extractor off in it, so that's fun. Managed gear case vent needs relocated. Somebody has converted this combine from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive, and it's been botched. Just hoses are not ran right. There's clamps and stuff missing. There's a lot of work that I have to do here to get that to where it's gonna pass muster is of a better word. I don't know. The way that these main pressure hoses from the hydro are ran is just not going to work, and eventually it could fail. So we're going to make sure that that's right. So got that grain tank panel I was talking about. Someone's hit the unload boot and about knocked it off, so I got to resecure that. There's a cab light that's filling up with water, so got to get that. And then basically this is all service stuff. So that's what's going on there. Let me show you what this broken bolt looks like. Okay, here in the engine compartment, I don't know why, but on these combines with 13.5s, This rocker box bolt, these spring bolts here that are holding the rocker box down, like to break off. This one right here, or one of these three, but it's usually this one right here. I don't know why, but it really sucks when that happens because it's down in a recessed hole down in here, and it's hard to get a drill in there without hitting this rocker box. But I was able to get an 1/8 inch hole drilled through it, and I had a snap-on extractor in there and I couldn't get the bolt to turn. So I just soaked it with some seafoam deep creep for a while, and then I was doing some other stuff in the field. I was just letting that soak. And then I tried a different extractor, and I was just barely choked up on my ratchet getting the thing just kind of started, and it just snapped. So I've got an extractor now snapped off into that bolt, and that extractor is like Rockwell 70 hardness, and I was trying to get a double cut carbide burr bit in there to kind of smooth it down to where I could maybe get a drill bit on there to try to turn it to the right and get it out, but nothing will even scratch that extractor. So I bought that rotary tool. I've got some diamond bits for it, so hopefully that diamond will allow me to either cut around that extractor to help loosen it up, or at least give me a flat spot in there to where I can start drilling or something. So I got some, it's a lot easier to get those 1/8 inch rotary tool bits in this hole, and that rotary tool's small enough to where I can get it in there. So hopefully that new tool will allow me to get in there and work with that, because I don't want to have to pull this whole rocker box off this engine and deal with that one broken bolt. So that's what I got going on there. So here's this master kit I got from Harbor Freight. It does have some diamond tip tools in there, and it's got a variety of everything. So far it's, decent quality. I don't have any issues with it so far. I really like this little guy. You got these little sanding discs that you can stick on there, and that works really good for getting in tight spaces and stuff. So really like that so far. And I had an extra Milwaukee case, so I put the rotary tool in here, and that master kit fits in here, and then I got a bunch of other rotary tool diamond point bits for it. So I've got some Dremel brand stuff. This is tungsten carbide carving bit. Thought that might come in handy. Some more rotary diamond bits. Got some Toyota. I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but these are solid tungsten carbide burrs I got from Amazon. These had really good reviews, so I'm gonna try those out. Another Dremel bit. All right, so here is my new little, started a new collection of Milwaukee packout stuff. I had this one before. This little packout I keep all my shop supplies in, sanding discs, emery cloth, burr bits. There's all kinds of little shop supplies in there. I bought this deep organizer to store all my grinding discs and wire wheels and all that stuff, because I did have a smaller Milwaukee toolbox that sat in here that I put my grease gun and my grinder in, and some extra batteries, and then all the blades and everything for the grinder, and I wasn't liking it. It was just kind of a mess. The grease gun would get everything kind of greasy in there, and the discs were just kind of loose everywhere. So went with this larger XL toolbox pack out. And I really like this stuff because it's all sealed. So if it goes in the back of this truck, it's got to be waterproof, because I drive through whatever with this thing. So I just got these little ratcheting poles in here to keep things where they need to be, and I just put one right there so it can't move, and then got a bungee cord in there for now. Thinking about maybe installing the pack out plate to the bed where this thing will click in, so you don't have to worry about strapping it or anything. Let me know how you guys like those things. Anybody out there that's got those plates that these things sit on? They're only like 30 bucks, so I just don't want to have to drill holes in the bed to mount that thing. So let's see what's inside here. So here we go, that's what I'm keeping in there now. Extra razor blades, you know, everything for my 90-degree Milwaukee die grinder, gasket wheels, electrical tape, flap wheels, more flap wheels and grinding stones, and extra razor blades, and 3 different grits of emery cloth, and a whole bunch more rotary bits, die grinder bits, all that fun stuff. So I did have this in a compartment in the truck, but it's really nice to have all these shop supplies where it's just right there where I can get to them. Here we got the deep organizer. So here I can put cutoff wheels, you know, basically from 2-inch to 5-inch in here. All the wire wheels, grinding discs, got a hole saws and the different guard for the grinder. Room for expansion. I really like this because, you know, of course it's got the seal in here. You can take these dividers out. It's really deep. You can put a lot of big stuff in there, so I really like that. Now I don't have all this stuff all mixed in with my grease gun and my grinder. So here we got the XL toolbox, and it comes with a nice little tray. I got the grinder wheel, the tool, and the handle in there. Then my grease guns fits in there, the grinder, the searchlight, and I got a bunch more room for any other bigger tools I may purchase in the future. I could also put parts in here, a bunch of different stuff I could put in here, and it'd be waterproof in the back of the truck. So really like this. And these things click together real nice. Just boom, done. Then when you take it off, you just pull it off like that. Start it in there, click. Just like that. And I've drove around with this, you know, 70, 80 mile an hour down the interstate, went to country roads, railroad tracks. Nothing's came apart yet, so really like that. So naturally, while I was buying all the other Milwaukee packhouse stuff, I had to get the cooler. So this one's really nice. I like that, you know, it has this handle here, flips up. Open this guy up. I like that it had this little tray in here to put my knickknacks and snacks and, you know, headphones and whatever I want to carry in there, and deep enough to carry all my Tupperware and ice packs and stuff. So if I run out of room in the truck, I could always snap this onto that pack out set that's in the bed, and it won't go anywhere. I can carry extra waters and whatever. I did have the soft Milwaukee lunchbox with the zippers and the pouches and everything, and the zipper on the front kept breaking, and I had 2 of them, and I just got tired of having zippers, so decided to go with an all hard lunchbox, and seen this one, so I had to have it. It said Milwaukee on it, you know, so bought that instead, and so far I really like it. All right, so the next cool thing I got was the new Milwaukee M18 top off 175 watt inverter. Thought this would be handy for charging the laptop, cell phones, and whatnots. So we're gonna give that a shot. But I think that really come in handy whenever I'm working somewhere and don't want the laptop plugged into the truck, and I want it up here, and I can charge it whenever I need to and charge my phones. And, you know, being a YouTuber, I gotta have power to charge cameras and laptops and phones and all that stuff. All right, so in the back of my truck, I didn't really cover this during my service truck tour. I'll put a card up here where you guys can check that out if you haven't seen the truck tour yet. So just kind of briefly go through what I got here. Got some extra drain hoses, 2-foot step ladder, another parts page, go figure. So we got some refrigerant, got some extra drain hoses here, some extra coolant, some diesel fuel, got some high guard, got room to put more high guard buckets in here if I need to. Carry a 4-foot ladder, this one can reach 14 feet. It unfolds, does all kinds of cool stuff, so it's real compact, fits in the truck nice. Gear inch creeper. And then here, I used to have a big Husky box right here that covered like this whole front area, and it was just taking up too much room. So I bought a second rigid pack out set. These are really nice. They snap together right here and they do not come apart. These have been in here for like 3 years now, and this stack here is brand new, so you can tell they don't really fade, or the sun doesn't fade the color as much or anything. They stay waterproof. Haven't had any water issues with in there at all. This one I have just extra parts. This is a organizer where I have all new bolts for all the swing arms on combine, so any hardware you could possibly want for a cleaning shoe of a combine is in this pack out case here. This one, I have extra terminals, wiring kits, wire, basically everything I need for electrical wise, for new parts for electricals in this bigger lower one. And this one, this stack up here is just basically all my special tools and stuff, and I'm not going to get into everything that's in there because then I'd have to drag all this stuff out to get into everything. But maybe some other date I might go through all this stuff with you guys. I know one of them is full of taps and special drill bits and pipe taps and all kinds of stuff in one of those. Then I have a bunch of oak blocks, little blocks, my torch tanks, all that stuff in there. And then I just, if I'm going somewhere, I take my regulators off and put the caps on there. But yeah, that's pretty much the back of the truck. It's kind of a organized mess, but it's a game of Tetris basically. But anyway, taking that big Husky box out of there and then adding that extra rigid pack out set, which is really nice. And these are like half the price of Milwaukee, and they're really nice. So got those, and that pretty much does it for the back of the truck. Looky here, I got my grain tank cover back from the body shop. Did a pretty good job. It looks pretty awesome. There was just a chunk right here just broken right there, and they even tried to match the texture of it even, but it looks pretty dang good. Pretty happy with that. Beats $4,600 new panel, so put that guy on sometime soon. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. So you guys kind of got an idea what all I got going on. Let me know what you guys would like to see, some of the repairs that I mentioned earlier, either on this combine or the 6400 here. But until then, keep that green iron moving, and I'll see you on the next one.